Hello.
Hi, hi. Nice to meet you. I'm Dean. Welcome
Hey.
to the Short Focus Film Festival Q&A sessions. And Sam, welcome also to Short Focus Film Festival. Thank you for joining me today and agreeing to answer some questions about your fantastic documentary. Can you first of all just kind of tell us what your film is about?
Yeah, sure. So, A Perth Band's Absolute Chaos tells the story of a Paralympian from Birmingham called Rob Oliver and his almost obsessive desire to succeed at any cost, regardless of the cost to his mental health or the loved ones around him. And so it's a short cinematic doc, 10 minutes in length, where you follow his journey as he prepares for Rio 2016 and what happens when he is milliseconds from success.
Fantastic. And the balance and chaos that are referred to in the title are always kind of shifting, between his passion for his sport and his family and his desire for that gold medal, his exercise regime. He's constantly striving for perfection and a meaningful point of focus. It's an epic journey from where we begin to where we end up. How long had you actually been following Rob's story, and when did you know that you wanted to make a film about him?
Yeah, sure. So I'd first met Rob I think it was just before Rio 2016, in my first kind of proper job doing like videography in this big IT company who were sponsoring him as he was like a local athlete. And so I kind of met him when he was very kind of in his early stages, when he was very obsessed about winning, when he was very kind of driven in almost like an aggressive way and was using rage to kind of motivate himself. And then kind of time passed and kind of in the lead up to Tokyo 2020, I was looking at kind of stories of athletes and Paralympians, and I reminded myself of Rob and just reached out to him basically. Like had him on Instagram, sent him a message, and that's when he kind of showed a lot of vulnerability and opened up about his journey and how that kind of obsessive desire to win at any cost kind of didn't work for him. And it kind of, and then since kind of Rio 2016, he has done only like a handful, maybe even just one kind of talk in public about that, which is talking about questioning and going against the grain of this stereotype we have, of this narrative we have of win at all costs, sacrifice at all costs, this kind of hustle mentality, it's almost like Jim Bro mentality, which he fell into. And he spoke very openly and honestly about the negatives to that and how actually, having more balance in his life and kind of reprioritizing and focusing more on his children and family allowed him to perform better, and that maybe this idea of, focusing on your dream 24/7, sacrificing everything to mental health and family isn't the way to go. Maybe there's kind of a possibility of success through balance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it definitely feels like a really vulnerable process, I suppose, for Rob to kind of open up about where his responsibilities and focus should really lie. From going from that kind of rigorous routine, and maybe kind of sacrificing his family, and then kind of finding that point of balance, and maybe even kind of tipping it the other way to kind of understand his priorities. I mean, it's a really kind of vulnerable place to open up from, and it definitely feels like a really kind of a sensitive portrayal, really of his story. So I think it's really delicately handled. The other thing I wanted to mention, I suppose, on the surface, one could call this a documentary about disability, although we spend very little focus on Rob's disability. Aside from a couple of glancing shots of Rob's prosthesis, there's actually no mention of the issue. Why was this an important choice for you and perhaps for Rob as well?
For us, it was more about focusing on this him as a high performance athlete rather than a disabled high performance athlete, and realizing, well, all high performance athletes go through the mental struggles that he went through, and it's about and we found like there was a unifying that those mental struggles kind of can bring a disabled led story into the because of the crossover.
I also really enjoyed the score by, I hope I'm not butchering his name here, Rick van den Heuvel or Heuvel. It's fantastic, very minimal, suspenseful, the kind of percussive ticking and pulsing synth bass. It's really evocative of the intense internal state that Rob so eloquently describes. How did you find Rick to compose for the film?
I had worked with Rick on the score for our feature documentary, My Everest, which was released in cinemas this Easter in April and May. And so it was kind of like a very easy choice to work with him again. He's a great guy, and I work remotely with him. He's based in the Netherlands, so we worked remotely together. And it was just a great experience, really. He has a very, how can I put it? I feel his kind of aesthetic, his kind of style, his tone fits really well. Like there's a lot of voices, a lot of kind of choral elements to it. There's a synth element to it without being too kind of 80s or kind of retro. And then there is all about trying to build the tension.
Yeah, no,
and care and love, which is obviously his family, right? So being able to balance the two together, I think, was really important. And for a piece like this, the sound is just as important as the visuals.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it felt really suspenseful in those moments, you know, when we're kind of thinking about, you know, his focus on the race, and, you know, it's really kind of building this strong, you know, powerful kind of tension, which is completely juxtaposed with those kind of more, you know, airy, lighter moments where you see him with his family, and that's the thing that really gives him that kind of grounded sense of belief, which I think is, yeah, just a really kind of extraordinary journey that we see, and it's told in a really wonderful way. So again, thank you for the film. Are you working on anything new at the moment?
So Sam and I are working on a couple of things. Working on a partnership to tell and platform more disability-led stories across film, TV, online. And also, I guess the big project is taking this story as an inspiration and jumping off point for a feature drama. So that's our kind of a big aim, our big kind of three-quarter goal is to kind of take what we have here about a high performance athlete who happens to be disabled, and his journey as he tries to navigate this extreme burnout, extreme sacrifice, and then find balance within his life before it's too late.
Fantastic. It sounds very intriguing indeed. Do keep us posted on your progress with that, and, you know, when it's finished, we'd be more than happy to take a look at that as well. So wishing you all the best with that project. Sam and Carl, thank you so much again for joining me this afternoon to discuss your film. Wishing you all the best with your film on the festival circuit as well, and thank you so much for being part of Short Focus Film Festival 2023.
Thanks so much, Dean.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.